A very good morning, class. We are dealing with the chapter number 18, Industries in India. Chapter number 18, Industries in India, page number 123. In the last video, we talked about the sectors of the economy or how are the industries categorized, what is the meaning of industry. Today we are here to talk about the types of industries. There are three different types of industries which are functioning in our country, and they are divided on the basis of investment level. They are divided on the basis of the works being done by each individual and on the basis of the requirement of the society. Different society has different needs at different times. So how are the products categorized? Do we ever think about how are the products categorized? Which sector or which industry is the producer of which type of goods? We never classify those. So today we will classify the types of industry into three main heads. The first is cottage industry, which is run by an individual, that can run even in a very small place or into one's own house where he or she lives up or one puts up. They can start the business from that particular point only. That is the cottage industry. The example would be many, like you must have heard about the Lijjat Papad, Amul Dairy. Okay, all these were earlier a cottage industry, means they began the work from their home. Later on they got transformed into a bigger scale and they converted themselves into a small scale industry and finally to a large scale industries. Large scale industry basically is where the reach of the product is in every hand. When a product reaches to every hand, that becomes a part of large scale industry, where the manufacturing hub or where the production hub or the production setup is on a much bigger scale. The investment level is on a much bigger level, then that level is called large scale industry. Whereas small scale industry, the second industry is a industry which comes between the cottage and the large scale industry. Means the amount of investment is not very low, not very high, but a medium investment is required for this, and this can be taken up by the family members or by some helping hands. Means there could be some people who could help in the completion of the work. So medium scale, or you can say small scale industry, is basically run into small places, small society or small areas which requires more investment or more investment of fund compared to the cottage industry, and more employment of laborers are seen in the small scale industry. The third would be the large scale industry, wherein the amount of investment is very high. The investment for the business is very high, as well as the return on the investment is even high. The return that the manufacturer expects is also high. Here, not only the domestic laborers are involved, not only the household laborers are involved, but the laborers are even imported from outside, or some experienced people with high efficiencies are even asked to be a part of the large scale industry. Investment, I told you, a very large amount of investment is required for such industry, and the product crosses all the barriers. There is no limitation for the product to be sold out into a particular market only. In case of cottage industry and a small scale industry, the boundaries are fixed. Like in a cottage industry, the product basically revolves or is basically sold out in a smaller society only, or a smaller group of, among the smaller group of people only. But in case of small scale industry, it touches the domestic boundary of the country. But in case of large scale industry, it even gets exported to the other parts of the world. So that is on a huge level, that is on a big level. When the investment is high, when the rate of return is high, when more of the laborers are appointed, when higher efficiency of work is required, we are talking about the large scale industry. So we will see one by one what it is. We'll begin with the cottage industry. First is the cottage industry. Cottage industries are set up by individuals in their houses or by small groups of people. See, these businesses or these industries are basically set up at the domestic level only. Means you can start it from your own house, from your own home. No need of taking a rented shop or taking a rented place. You can begin from the home. If the business works, if there is a growth in the business, you can move to a higher place. So the level of investment or the amount of investment is low, and the people or the laborers who are required for the production of such goods should not be hired, but basically all the people from the house only will be involved in the production of goods and services. Examples are pickles, jams, beedies, candles, and papads are the products of such industries. Means I told you, I gave you example of ledger papad. Ledger papad, when it began its work, it basically began from the home only. Means people started making from their own houses, then slowly and steadily they formed a smaller group wherein the whole area was involved. Then that particular got shifted to the whole district, and then later on to the state, and then they crossed the boundaries. The moment they cross the other states, they become a part of the small scale industry, and when they cross the boundary of the country, they become a part of the large scale industry. So this is the basic growth pattern of the businesses. When you begin the work from your home, when your own how family members are involved in the production of goods and services, that is a cottage industry. So what we have to keep in mind, cottage industries are those industries which are run basically by the family members first. Second is the rate of the amount of investment in the cottage industry is basically very low. Third is the people who are associated with the business, or those who help in the growth of the business, are basically the people around that particular area. And the rate of return on a particular investment is even low. When you invest some low amount, some small amount, the investment or the return would be even small. So this is all about the small scale cottage industries. So you can give the examples of cottage industries are like the candle making business, or the alpine making business, the papad making business. These all are basically comes under the category of cottage industries. So class, you must remember that what is a cottage industry and what are its examples. So this would be your part of the homework where you need to cover what is a cottage industry and what are its examples. Thank you, class.